All right, so boom. The Dallas Cowboys will miss the 2024 NFL playoffs. No! It isn't true. The Falcons will not only win the NFC South, they go into the NFC Championship.
Is the man retarded?
The Chicago Bears are going to win the NFC North.
Who is responsible for this?
The Buffalo Bills will miss the playoffs.
No, this ain't good.
The Jags win the AFC South.
Dummy. Yeah.
The 49ers will not win a playoff game.
Pee in that cup.
Derrick Henry doesn't run for 1,000 yards.
I beg your pardon?
Tua Tagovailoa wins the NFL MVP.
No, sir!
The Los Angeles Chargers not only win the AFC West, they win a playoff game.
You buy 14 grams of crack.
The New York Jets collapse late in the year and not only miss the postseason, it forces Aaron Rodgers into retirement. The Lally-Lulelo New England Patriots joined the 76 Buccaneers, 82 Colts, 08 Lions, 17 Browns as the fifth winless team in NFL history.
Tragic!
All right, so boom. All hot takes aside, it is I, the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the Chiseled Adonis. But of course, you already knew that. And I am incredibly excited for the NFL season kicking off next Thursday, because for the first time since 2005, we have a two-time reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion of the world, Kansas City Chiefs, with an opportunity to do something that's never been done in the Super Bowl era, and that's win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Has not been done since we saw 3 consecutive championships from the Green Bay Packers, 65 to 67. But remember, Super Bowl 1 was in 66, so that NFL championship in 65 does not count as a part of a three-peat. But one way or another, I do not believe that they will not only not win a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl, they won't even, for the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career, make it to the AFC Championship. But on the real though, all of these doggone hot takes, do I believe all of them? Absolutely not. But there's a couple that I do happen to believe. Dallas Cowboys not making the postseason, I believe that. The Atlanta Falcons winning the division in the NFC North, or I should say South, I do indeed believe that. The Chicago Bears winning the NFC North, I do believe that. The Los Angeles Chargers winning the AFC West, I do believe that. The Jags winning the AFC South, I do believe that. Why? I woke up this morning, I had a dream for whatever reason. Football's on the mind. We're T-minus, 7 days away, 8 days away from the season. So I'm incredibly ecstatic about that. So I could not get football off the mind. College football season just kicked off, and these things just went through my head. Tried to go navigate through the morning to see if perhaps that some sense would be snapped into my brain, but for whatever reason, I'm still feeling very confident in these takes. The Buffalo Bills not making the postseason. The San Francisco 49ers, despite going to 3 consecutive NFC championships and going to the Super Bowl and unfortunately losing last year, will not win a playoff game. I don't know why I'm feeling this way.
That's why drugs are so dangerous.
But I did want to get this out, put it into the ethos of the global internet, and then leave it as a footprint so come February 2025, we can revisit and see just how accurate I was. I'm not going to hold you. Although I do feel very confident in this happening, piece of me feels as if 32% is probably what I'll end up hitting on.
Zero chance.
But before we continue,
And now, a word from our sponsor.
sports fans, football season is right around the corner, and I'm sure we've all dreamed about being on those sidelines, maybe even being in the front office as a GM, putting together one of the greatest rosters in the history of the game. What if I told you now have that opportunity with today's video sponsor, Football Head Coach? FHC is a football management game where players can build their own rosters with their favorite players. This is my current offense, defense, and special teams. Incredibly weak, but it won't stay that way for long, because you can improve your roster by completing player trade challenges, buying players in the transfer market, or purchasing packs. Once you head into the store, you'll see packs range from bronze, silver, and gold. There's even gold premium packs, gold elite packs, and mega elite gold packs for even better players. But that's not all. FHC also features a weekend league where you can earn amazing rewards, qualify during the week, and compete against other players for top-notch prizes in the weekend league. Keep in mind, FHC is an NFLPA licensed game, so that means you can stimulate matches, improve rosters, and collect all of your favorite NFL players. I started out with nothing but bronze all over my roster, but now I've got silvers and golds, and now I can't lose. I'm taking W's against all opponents. Finally, I got myself a rare gold. Ronnie Stanley is on my squad. The margins of victory just keep getting better and better. I live in the end zone. 42-28, 35-21, 42-21, 80-0. Doesn't matter who steps up. They will be set down. So what are you waiting for? You can become the greatest coach in the history of football by either scanning this QR code here or clicking the link down in my description, downloading the Football Head Coach app, and creating one of the greatest rosters ever in the history of football. The sidelines are waiting for you.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Now, as it pertains to the hot takes, although I would love to sit here and just leave it very cold and not explain myself whatsoever, because
somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one.
Why me? Why me? Why me?
I will offer you an explanation. As it pertains to the 49ers, I just think things don't work in their favor this season. How many times have we seen somebody get denied at the doorstep, whether it be the championship game, whether it be the Super Bowl? It's very difficult to continue to maintain that type of regular season success only to fall short. I think this year they happen to fall off the staircase and have to work their way back up. The Dallas Cowboys, same kind of situation. Every single year, Super Bowl aspirations, still haven't made it back to that NFC Championship in 28 years, and I think once more they continue to struggle, and this time around, it does not happen in the postseason because they don't qualify to make it. For the Buffalo Bills, they lost Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. As far as I'm concerned, it's the Josh Allen show. You may have brought in like Mac Hollins and everything of that nature, but one way or another, they're going to be at church every single Sunday prior to the games. Jesus on the main line, tell him what you want. How about a wide receiver? Because they ain't got none. AFC South is going to be very interesting because the Tennessee Titans are ass. Nobody's worried about them. Only reason why I brought it up is just that we can say who's going to be at the bottom of the division. I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to be relatively interesting, but I don't think they're going to qualify for the postseason. I think everybody believes that the consensus pick is the Houston Texans. However, if you take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, the amount of dropped passes, let alone dropped touchdowns, from absolute dimes from Trevor Lawrence was criminal. I think that doesn't necessarily happen this season because a couple of years ago, they were able to catch fire and finish the season very strong, went into the postseason, got themselves a W. Brandon Staley, we ain't gonna talk about that 27-0 blown lead when they played the Chargers. But last year, I think they were better than it actually appeared that it was. And although you can't take momentum from the prior season, I think they shock individuals this year, mess around and win their division. Not to say that the Texans are not gonna go to the postseason. I do see that happening, but I just so happen to believe that it's going to be the Jags who goes and wins that division. In the NFC East, here's what's very interesting. I do believe that the Philadelphia Eagles will go and win their division. They collapsed late in the year, and now not having Jason Kelce is going to be a bit of a concern up front, although I do believe that his replacement will be, decent. I don't think he's going to be at a Hall of Fame level like Jason Kelce was, but I just don't see competition in that division. Truly, this season, Daniel Jones will be the Jameis Winston from 2019. I'm so excited to watch this man turn the football over because I have absolutely no faith that he'll go out there and perform. You no longer have Saquon Barkley as that safety net. Now, granted, you did bring in Malik Neighbors, but one way or another, I have no faith in the New York Giants, and it's going to be a laughing show every single weekend. I can't wait for the highlights of Daniel Jones. In fact, if he can recreate that 70-yard scamper and mess around and trip once more, I just want to feel that feeling I felt when I watched him trip on, I believe it was Monday Night Football for the first time again. That joint right there, can't wait to see it. Commanders, I believe they'll be the worst team in the NFC, if not the Carolina Panthers or the Arizona Cardinals. But over there in the NFC West, I do predict that, of course, the Cardinals comes down at the bottom. I think there's going to be a different individual who just so happens to win that division because the 49ers are not going to win a postseason game. They won't win the division either. I think that's going to be the Los Angeles Rams. Granted, they lost Aaron Donald, so that's a huge concern. arguably, in my opinion, the greatest defensive tackle of all time. But I think that offense is going to be firing at all cylinders, barring injury, of course. I do believe they'll get the job done. Seattle's going to be a bit middle of the pack, but I do see the San Francisco 49ers going to the playoffs, just not winning a playoff game. I think prior I had misspoke and said they'll miss the playoffs. That's not what I meant. I meant they'll go to the playoffs. They won't win a playoff game. Now, as for the NFC North, Caleb Williams, undefeated preseason, does not fucking matter. But I think Detroit could possibly have been lightning in the bottle situation last year, where everything that could have gone right went right up until they shot themselves in the foot in the championship game. I do think they will be a playoff team. I just don't envision a circumstance where they mess around and win the division again. I thought Chicago last year had what it took to be a playoff team, but they just could not get the job done. Change at quarterback, although I do believe in Caleb Williams, I don't think he'll be the sole reason as to why they mess around and get over the hump. I think they're going to have a ton of different individuals step up and play above their presumed capabilities. So I have Chicago shocking individuals and winning that division. And surprisingly enough, I don't know why, I should sit over here and be very high on Green Bay, but I'm not. I don't know why that is. I do believe that Green Bay will be a playoff team. But because I think they're going to have 3 teams from the NFC North that go to the postseason. Unfortunately for the Vikings, you're going to be the bottom of the division. You had a ton of injuries, and despite, having some names there on offense, it's not going to work in your favor, buddy. So get ready for last. You're drafting high next year. But for the Packers, I don't know how to feel about them. I know you guys will mess around and be a playoff team. I just don't feel, that whole NFC Championship kind of vibe situation. I think had you played anybody else outside of the Dallas Cowboys last year, you probably would have been a one and done. But hey, go out there and prove me wrong, Green Bay. Prove me wrong. As for the AFC West, I do believe that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to shock the NFL and win that division. I think Jim Harbaugh will galvanize that team, get that offense on the straight and narrow. The defense will perform and do what they have to do as long as they remain healthy. Their biggest issue has always been strength and conditioning, so we'll see if they can remain healthy by the end of the year. But I think barring injury, they will win that division. Kansas City, really, the regular season does not fucking matter. All they need is just a ticket to the postseason. Now, as I stated prior, I don't believe they will make it to the AFC Championship game this year. And for the first time, as Patrick Mahomes has ever been a starter, he will be sitting at home come championship Sunday. But I do have the Los Angeles Chargers winning this division. Unfortunately for Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos, y'all ain't qualifying. Then, as for the AFC East, that is, Jets, you're going to collapse. Aaron Rodgers, you had a hell of a career. This will be your last season. Not saying there's going to be an injury situation like we saw last year, 75 seconds, 4 strokes, 4 plays. That's not what we're talking about. But I think you're going to be so disappointed in how the season ended. You're going to say, hey, man, I'm running for president in 2028. But as for the New England Patriots, they won't win a single game. Buffalo, you're going to mess around and miss the postseason. I think Miami's going to be probably a top 3 offense in the NFL. Funny enough, I think the Falcons are going to be a number 1 offense in the NFL. I don't know why. It's in my mind. I can't get it out. They're fucking chokers. But yet here I am believing them. Why? Release me from this genjutsu. Why am I whispering? But the Lolly Lule Low, bottom of the division, if not the bottom of the NFL, then the Dolphins win that division, and they will be the only representatives in the AFC East who goes to the postseason. AFC South, I already touched on that there. The AFC North, this is where things are very interesting, right? Because I think barring injury, Cincinnati will go and win that division. Baltimore will always be a team that's in contention. Last 2 years prior to last year, so 2 of the last 3 years, they absolutely choked, but that was due to injuries to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was healthy last year, and hey, another MVP. So I think this year, the Ravens will take a step back in the record column, but I think they're going to get just enough to go over to the postseason. And I refuse to put out a prediction prediction for my Pittsburgh Steelers outside of the whole record prediction situation, but they just announced today that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback. I think by the end of the year, there's a high possibility that Justin Fields will be in that position. Again, I refuse to choose against Mike Tomlin having a winning record. Now, does that end with a postseason berth? I'm not sure. All I know is I do believe that all 4 teams in the division will be above that 500 number, but I don't think that we're going to see 4 teams from the division go to the postseason. I think ultimately it's going to be Cincinnati, Baltimore, and hey, who knows if Pittsburgh's able to go and qualify. But off the top of my head, if I was to give you a hard stance, because I've been doing that this entire video, I'm going to go ahead and say my bias will stand and say Pittsburgh Steelers to the postseason. But overall, preseason prediction, I'm going to say this for the Super Bowl. And I'm going to put my bias aside. I'm not going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers win the doggone Super Bowl. Here's what I see happening on this video. It's going to be a warm climate out at Super Bowl 59. And there will be a new Super Bowl champion who takes the reins of the NFL's throne from the Kansas City Chiefs, because unfortunately for the Chiefs, they will not qualify. And that team will be...
Got your ass.
I appreciate you watching the entire video. Feel free to hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Furthermore, hit that subscribe if you hadn't already. YouTube acknowledged me with 100,000 subscribers, but they've given me nothing since. Help me get to 1 million so I can put it up on the wall. It's up there by itself.